So my question is actually exactly what Muzaffer was telling at the end. In Turkey, at least many journalist friends of mine, they were telling the arrestment of the Deniz and some German journalists was for us the end of the hope that from outside that some country can influence the Turkey, that make a pressure on Turkey, that Turkey is not going to be that much harsh against journalists, because you see still also of this all things that the both friends from Turkey and also from the Report Without Border telling about Turkey, like Germany doesn't have any problem. It seems like that because they are meeting with Erdogan and they have still this exchange. Erdogan is still taking part on the international conference, and there is nothing against Turkey in international basis. So my question is also in this direction. What means the international solidarity for the journalists right now working in under such a authoritarian government like a Turkey? What's your impression to this question? For everyone, 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay. The question is what Germany can do, or I mean, not the state, but to be in solidarity with the Turkish journalists. I can really answer that really short because I really don't know. Because I'm here it's been 1.5 years that I'm in Berlin. I worked at Taz. We did that Turkish-German special issue. Now Taz is doing Taz Gazete, the Turkish, German-Turkish website blog. Now there's Özgürüz here, Can Dündar's organization. And lots of journalists are coming to Berlin, either fleeing or resigning like me, and then looking for a work in Germany. And this question, people always ask me what they can do in Turkey for journalists. They really can't do anything directly for journalists. The only thing actually you can do is to improve the democracy in Turkey. Then it will affect our work. But even though I really appreciate the works people are doing here, I have to be honest that I really don't think that these kind of projects improve the situation journalists in Turkey. Like Özgürüz or, I don't know, Taz Gazete. Even though all of them are my friends and I am always with them, I'm always supporting them and so on. It has to be, in Turkey, the situation has to be improved so that we can really work there as we should.
In general, I want to say that European countries have to accept that there is a dictatorship in Turkey, and they have to arrange their attitude to the Turkish government according to this definition. There is a dictatorship now in Turkey. That's the point, I think. So they shouldn't give legitimacy to the Erdogan's rule, I think, because even in the elections, in the last elections, they cheated really, and very slightly they get the yes vote. And I think it is not a legitimate, in terms of democratic norms, not a legitimate government in Turkey, and European countries, I think, have to arrange their attitudes toward this Erdogan regime. In terms of us in academy, what can we do from Berlin, from Germany? I just want to give you an information about our last campaign about a targeted academic boycott to the Turkish universities, which are included in this, which are cooperated with the Erdogan government, and they are in a way complicit. We write a declaration about this academic boycott, and I want to read this text. As Academics for Peace, we call on all institutions of higher education, funding councils, academic and professional associations, and individual faculty members to boycott the Turkish higher education system. The aim of the academic boycott is ensuring that all dismissals are revoked and the persecution of academics exacerbated under the state of emergency regime is ended. The boycott is targeted against complicit universities and higher education institutions as follows. Declare a moratorium on all future collaborations with the Higher Education Council, this is YÖK in Turkish, and the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, this is TÜBİTAK, who violated the right for academic freedom and betrayed the international norms on higher education. Declare a moratorium on all future collaborations with rectors of the complicit universities, who not only violated the right for academic freedom and betrayed the international norms of higher education, but also acted like an extended arm of the intelligence agencies in their universities. Suspended the membership of all YÖK and TÜBİTAK officials and of all complicit university rectors in professional, business and educational associations. Declare a moratorium on all future research collaborations with any complicit university. Declare a moratorium on attending any future academic or professional conference, workshop, seminar, sponsored and co-organized by or held at YÖK, TÜBİTAK, or any of the complicit universities in Turkey and elsewhere. Declare a moratorium on holding or organizing any future academic or professional conference, workshop, seminar at any of complicit universities in Turkey. This targeted boycott call excludes, first, agreements designed to help or facilitate student exchange, and the second, requests from individual academics in Turkey for visiting fellowships or similar engagements with universities outside Turkey. This declaration is signed by Academics for Peace United Kingdom, Academics for Peace France, and Academics for Peace Germany. And this is my answer.
Thanks. I think it was very clear.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, it's I think there's two parts to this answer. I think firstly for the German government, what the German government can do is definitely be much more explicit when it comes to naming the detained Turkish journalist. I mean, the government in form of Angela Merkel, she has been very clear, and she's been very, forward in naming Deniz Yücel, for example, which is a good thing. But there is more than 150 journalists right now detained, and they also have names, and they're not known. A lot of people in Germany don't know all the names of the detained journalists in Turkey. So I think it would be a very big step if the government, if the German government would, for example, publish sort of a press release, just very pragmatic, with all the names of the detained Turkish journalists and call for their release. And not only, Deniz Yücel, which was already a very good thing, but we really call to be very clear also with regards to the other detained journalists. I think that would be a very big step. Another thing is, when it comes to having practical help for journalists who want to come, for example, to Germany, to enable them, giving them emergency visa, for example. I mean, that's why I wrote down the name Sujin. So apparently she didn't get a visa. What we tried to do is, work with the authorities in the last weeks and months to improve this, for them to really, really be helpful in giving emergency visa to Turkish journalists who want to come to Germany for, say, 3 months or 4 months, or I don't know. And we saw, despite this unfortunate case now that I've just heard of, but we saw at least a slight improvement, that the authorities have become a bit more flexible when it comes to issuing visa for Turkish journalists who want to come to Turkey, because most of the journalists that contact us don't actually want to go into asylum, but they just want to have a short period of time where they can be safe in Germany, but they don't want to go through this whole very complex asylum process. That's at least the experience we have made. Other than that, I think on a personal level, also for journalists, what Turkish journalists have told me is a good way of protest would actually be to subscribe to one of the few remaining independent newspapers that are actually still in Turkey, you know, and I think Bir Gün would be an example. Cumhuriyet is very well known, but there's also some online news portals, and most of them are struggling financially. They have problems getting advertisement because companies are afraid of setting their ads in the paper or online. So that might be, you know, a way of protest or support to actually subscribe to these papers. And I think also that's something maybe that the German government again could do, is sort of helping to establish more scholarships so that Turkish journalists can come to Germany, you know, enable that financially. There's already some programs and initiatives that are good, but I think we need much more of this. And what we also hear from journalists detained, not only in Turkey, but generally when they are released finally, they tell us, you know, it's been a very good feeling for them to hear that they were mentioned, that there was an awareness for them, that people talked about them, that there was a press release, you know, so just that we're not getting used to this situation right now in Turkey, which seems to get worse and worse, but always think about these journalists. I mean, there's some initiatives, for example, that have been launched where you can write a postcard to a journalist in prison. I mean, not all of them are actually allowed to receive mail, but some of them are. I mean, these are very small things, but still we heard in the past that, you know, this has helped some of the detained journalists.
Bom, voy a hablar español ahora. Para nosotros del Foro Mundial de Media Livre, o que é importante dentro de uma perspectiva de solidariedade internacional.
In the Forum of Free Media, for us it's really important, a perspective of international solidarity.
Sí. Es hacer la denunciación con las opiniões públicas de cada país donde estamos sobre una cuestión específica como esta de la Turquía. Y la cuestión que la Turquía hoy no es más una democracia, es sí una dictadura.
And it's important that each country makes
a public opinion about the different situations that are happening in countries, for example, like Turkey, that every country takes a position and makes it public.
Y también que tenemos siempre una cuestión de los medios tradicionales, clásicos, que estoy hablando francés, perdón. Tiene siempre la cuestión de los medios tradicionales en cada país, que tienes un discurso que es muy, muy tradicional y que no va contra el discurso de los gobiernos de cada país.
And the traditional media has this typical discourse that it's not against the discourse of the government.
So, la cuestión de la denunciación con la opinión pública es muy importante, porque no es solamente la denunciación, pero la sensibilización de la opinión pública. Es la cuestión en cada país por hacer la solidaridad internacional con los periodistas turcos.
Because it's not only about to make the public opinion, but it's also to sensibilize the civil society about these situations in different countries.
Otra cuestión es la cuestión del boicot. Los boicotes, como conocemos desde África do Sul, quando tenías el apartheid, es también una herramienta importante de luta, de denunciación y sensibilización. Y para nosotros,
And of course, like you said about the boycott, is really important. Like it was in South Africa at the time of the apartheid, how the boycott is a really extremely important tool
sensibilization,
for the sensibilization and for education of the public opinion.
Nosotros del Fórum de Mídia Libre hacemos siempre esto. Tenemos diferentes ferramentas para apoyar e denunciar de questões, de problemas em diferentes países do mundo, diferentes regiões.
And we from the Free Media Forum have exactly these powerful tools to
Diferentes regiões e países.
they have different tools for different regions, for different countries, for different contexts that they can use to give this opinion to the public.
Todavia, queria também falar uma coisa importante que eu he escutado aqui entre todas as pessoas que han hablado.
I wanted to talk about something really important that I have heard from all the other panelists.
Yes. Hoje, em todos os países do mundo, em França, onde vivo, em Brasil, onde vengo, em Turquia e outros países, uma coisa comum se passa.
Today, in all different countries, in France, where I live, in Brazil, where I was born, or in Turkey, there is this common point.
The point is, la lucha contra el terrorismo es una buenísima desculpa para disminuir, para reducir el derecho a la comunicación y a la libertad de expresión.
The fight against terrorism is a good excuse to minimize the liberty of expression or to minimize the communications rights.
Em França, este momento estamos luchando muito contra as novas leis que o novo governo, o novo presidente tenta impor a nós outros.
In France, we're fighting right now a lot against these new laws, these new norms that the new president wants to impose to the journalists.
Because, porque vivemos desde 2015 dentro de estado de excepção.
Yeah, because since 2015 we're living in
2015?
state of exception. I don't know if that's the...
State of emergency? Yes. Porque tivemos muitos ataques terroristas e agora o novo presidente, que não é novo, é bem viejo presidente em sua cabeça.
Because last year we had a lot of terrorist attacks, and the new president, which is not new, he's actually quite old in his head and old in the system.
Queres criar dentro da lei francesa estado de exceção. É muito dangeroso, é muito perigoso para as liberdades, para os direitos fundamentais e para os direitos individuais.
And because of that, he wants to create in the French law a state of exception that will minimize all basic rights and will endanger or threaten these rights.
Creio que hoje o mundo está se transformando e tienes muitas forças de censuras, dictaduras e o novo neoconservadorismo. E temos que fazer atenção a essas novas forças que emergem.
And I think right now the world is transforming with a lot of censorships, a lot of dictatorships, and a new kind of conservatism that we need to fight against right now.